is all common sense. All I see is all common sense. Extra men in all testaments. Scumbags is all common friends. No sustenance in these substances. No substitutes, no hindrances. And differences is all poison. We know our problems make more of them.
History is something that we're experiencing, whether we want to or not. It's usually something that is sort of collected by people and represented, I find, especially in the art world. Often people aren't quite as aware of what history is happening while that history is occurring. So in a certain way, when you have 60 artists and you bring them together, you can just get kind of a feeling of what all of the work's going to look like together. But once it's all assembled, then it has a different resonance.
What we're doing with this show is trying to show what is happening now. And this is part of the history. I mean, we're writing history right now. I come from like the old school New York in the 80s, where it wasn't all this pretentious or image or this kind of like, you know, speculation energy. People came out to support artists because artists are like on the front lines of pretty much documenting their society. I mean, they're the social documentarians. So with this exhibition, I think history, the only role that it played was just as a reference point as what has come before. And this is just something completely new that we're rewriting history right now with every exhibition that we're going to do, with this one being the inaugural one.
There's an aspect of it where history imposes itself on you, and you can't really sort of willingly create or weave yourself into a certain history that also exists. But I also think that history can be a drawback. A lot of people, especially in the stereotypical sense. I also think that a lot of the people that they try to put forward as being popular or successful sort of fulfill a stereotypical role in history that maybe like the dealers or the market sort of says, oh, okay, well that guy can kind of be our Warhol, or this guy can be our Basquiat, or whatever it is. And so oftentimes that's kind of sort of a fraudulent way of organizing creativity into presenting creativity. But they need that kind of historical interaction, because I find the first thing that anybody does when they look at a work of art is like, oh, that reminds me of de Kooning, or that reminds me of Francis Bacon, or that reminds me, oh, that's very much like you're trying to do a Warhol thing. So it's kind of, people have a hard time settling themselves with the idea of history actually happening, and when they get a sense that history is happening, their reaction is to compare it to something else in a way of kind of saying, you know, nice try, but, you know, this is better than you. You're the little cheese and history is the big cheese.
We plan on doing this every year in different cities. So that's pretty much like a FU to the art world every year.
Shh.